Transitioning from being part of a couple to raising a child on your own is really hard. There's no two ways about it. It is one of the hardest things that you'll ever do. But the good news is this: there's a way to do it successfully and gracefully and in a way that you preserve your relationship with your child and your child's relationship with the other parent. Watch this video for more. My name is Wendy Hernandez, and I'm an attorney, and I'm also the creator of Command the Courtroom. So finally, today we have back with us Dr. Samie of Our Days Calendar. And Dr. Samie today is going to talk to us about his relationship with his son after a really hard-fought court battle, after a jury trial, after lots of upheaval and ups and downs. It's possible to navigate your future as a single parent with grace. Don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up at the end. And if you haven't already, be sure and hit the little notification bell so you can get updated every time Command the Courtroom drops a new video. All right, let's get into it. Welcome back to episode 3 of my interview, my 4-part interview with Samie of Our Days Calendar. If you haven't watched the previous 2 videos, please go back and do that now. There was some gold in the videos. Samie shared a lot about his experience in the family law courtroom during a divorce and custody battle. What is interesting about Samie's journey is that he had a jury trial in Texas. So he learned a lot of lessons. He's sharing them with us. And today he's here to share with us his relationship with his son today. And, you know, sometimes people say in family law, there are no winners or losers. But in this case, really, it's a victory for Samie's son and for Samie because they have a beautiful, loving relationship with not only Samie, but with his mother, too. So thanks, Samie, for coming back and welcome.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for having me here. I'm excited to have these continued conversations, helping the audience as well and sharing my experience with them as well.
Well, you're welcome. And right before we started recording this episode, we were talking about how oftentimes people feel so hopeless when they are in the situation that they're going through. Custody battles and divorces are difficult. And, you know, you're talking about your life is changing. There's transition. There's emotions involved. If you have a lawyer, you're paying a lot of money to the lawyer. That's stressful and overwhelming. On top of it, you're working, most people, and trying to raise the child and make sure that the child peacefully transitions. Your attitude, and so you shared a story at the end of the last episode about a dark place that you were in. And today you're in a different place. Can you tell me how you feel today and what's different from the time that you were going through your process?
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And just a reminder to the audience as well, what we talked about the end of the last session, the darkness, exactly the points that you were raising, the stress, the uncertainties that go through this new chapter of your life, right? Even during the process, when you're going through the court and you're sharing inners of your private lives with audience of people that don't know anything about you. All of this adds to that stress, and of course your mind is always what's going to happen also with the future of the child. You read a lot about it online, right? There is a lot of research and statistics about the success or not the success of the divorced parents' children, and this adds actually to the stress as well. You learn about it, you know about it, but it adds to the stress. And where is my child going to end up? Is he going to be one of those that going to achieve well in his life, be happy in his life, or is this going to cause additional difficulties and challenges for the child to progress in their lives? And those, everything goes in your mind, and you are now full of this stress in addition to your day-to-day life that you were having before. You know, you have to go to your work, like you said. You have to still manage your well-being, your home, all of that has to come in as well. So it's a load of the stress, and that's where I was during the divorce process period. And of course, in my case, we went through jury trial, and it added to that stress as well. That it wasn't, no divorces are easy, but this was causing additional stress, that it was a dragged on. So you are under that tremendous pressure, And now, of course, your focus that should be on the child is even more in maybe a not correct and logical way. That's where I was during that period. But where I am today, well, happily talk about, and the journey as well, is that when you finish in that chapter of divorce, the process, the courts, and now you can start healing. My first most important part was that let's try to heal personal, you as a person yourself. Let's making sure that you are full, you get your rest, you getting your peace of mind as much as possible, and trying to focus and training to focus on your time with the child. A lot of time during the process, the divorce processes, you are there physically, but your mind is not there. But now that the divorce is over, the papers, everything, the decrees, the courts are over, you really have to look ahead and not what was in the back, and trying to build on that. And of course that comes with the child and the changes that child is going through as well. You have to put yourself in the child's situation as well. It's not easy. A lot of time as adult, we tend to say, well, he's only 3 years old, he's only 4 years old, or she is so small, they wouldn't notice, they are playful, they come home after the daycare, and we play, we go to playground. But that's wrong. A child may not be able to articulate their feelings as good as an adult. However, they feel these differences, these changes, and it's also stressful for them, even if they are not always able to articulate that. And if you come with that mindset and trying to make that clear that, hey, when I'm with the child, the focus is going to be on the child. We're going to do things looking ahead, and questions will come. A lot of time, the child will ask, "Where is mommy? Where can I see the mommy? When are we going to travel again together? Are we going to do cooking together next weekend?" And you have to just have those honest discussions with the child as well.
Yes.
One approach that I think, Wendy, is also important to remember is that during this process journey, of course, you're coming out of what I started with, a lot of emotions, a lot of stress, but never letting that stress and emotions to paint the other parent in a negative way.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
that's very clear.
Thank you for reinforcing that. And I think you mentioned it during one of the last couple of episodes, Sammy. And that's so important. It's so important for people not to badmouth. I mean, the other parent may be the worst parent in the world, but the child loves that parent, chances are. Um, okay, so talk to me a little bit and remind me, during the marriage, were you both working, or was one of you primarily working? I mean, how did going your separate ways affect things? And this is the problem that I hear from a lot of people. And that is, well, during the relationship, I was the one that was responsible for mostly working, for example. And I didn't spend a lot of time with the child because the other parent helped me do that. And that parent who was maybe working a lot or going to school is worried that because they were less physically absent, that maybe they don't have a chance. Can you speak to that at all? Do you have any experience with that?
Oh, absolutely, and this was actually one of the points raised among many other during the courts as well. So in our case, she was working as well, and she had a little bit more flexibility. She could work from home, and how it was, I would in the morning, I'm an early person, would go early to work, and then in the afternoon I would pick up the little one, and we would spend the time together. We go to playgrounds, or we just child and myself, we would do a lot of things, and then the evenings time would be more or less us together. And yeah, when the during the divorce process, when the split came, of course, one of the points that came on the court, it was, well, hold on, Samie is traveling for work, so that means that he cannot be there as much for the child. But that's not correct. We have to work, and we have to travel. Some of our roles require that you have to travel as well. But by default, a traveling parent doesn't make him or her less eligible or less of good of a parent. That's just the
Yes.
way it is, and that's the setup that we have. And of course, when that was played out in the court, on an immediate feeling was like, well, that is true. During the divorce, in our case, I would maybe travel about 10% of the time. Now there are people who maybe even do 70, 80% of the time, but even that 10% was played. That hey, he's going on business trip, so he shouldn't be the right person for the primary custody. Well, I'm not doing any travel. Now, how does that impact the child's well-being? Is the child going to be to any risk? If the answer is no, just the traveling part cannot be used against a parent as an eligible or good custodial parent. So
Yes.
that was one of the stresses that came up, Wendy, and I think a lot of people go through that experience as well. Even the married couple, the parent who has to travel, that shouldn't be used against the parent. That, oh look, your mom or your dad is traveling for business. These are not pleasure; these are business trips. As such, he cannot be as good of a parent as I am, who is always at home.
Yes. So thank you for speaking to that. And like I said, I have that issue. It comes up quite a bit. And, one of the things that I talk to my clients about is, well, now you're going your separate ways. So two people are not devoting their time to the household anymore. Their efforts are going to be divided. So there's going to need to be some changes, right? So let's talk about, and I do want to get to your beautiful life with your son, but I want to talk about what changes did you have to make and come to peace with, and what transitions did you have to make in your outside life? Because now it was
Yeah,
just Samie with your
yep,
son.
that's right. Yeah, no, that's very, very, very good, and it takes me back to that initial change. So of course, changes in our life is not easy in beginning, right? No matter what they are, even when you move in a house, right, or move in an office or change in a role, the initial change is not never easy. So in my case, let me give you some examples. So we all have our work, we have our family, but a lot of us have some passionate hobby as well, right?
Mhm.
In my
Yes.
case, it's been sport. So I always enjoyed sport. I always enjoyed being active. I was competing in sport for 20 plus years. And it was been just literally, if I get any free time, I would like to be active and moving around. And I can never forget that during the time, at least we were married. So during the date, wake time of the child, we spending time with the child. But as soon as he slept, this is my time now to jump on a mountain bike or go to the gym or do things that I really value and enjoy.
Yes.
Some other people may like playing piano to lengths or whatever it is, drawing, whatever that is, gaming, whatever that hobby is, cars, uh, cooking. But now I have a child. I cannot leave a 3 years old at home to sleep home alone while I'm going to the gym for an hour and back.
Correct.
So, so
And I've had clients do that, by the way, and it didn't end up well. you know,
well,
it's
here
it's
is interesting when because this is a huge life change. It might not sound too difficult for someone who's not been in that scenario. If you love doing your cooking or meeting with friends, whatever it is, go for your routine walks every night for 30 minutes, and now suddenly you have to remember you can't leave that small child alone at home.
yes,
Uh, and that transition is not initially easy. And to add to that as well is the people who are surrounding as well. As much as a lot of them are having a good intention, is not helpful either, because you're hearing a lot of people coming and giving that comment about, well, you don't you won't be able to go out to the gym anymore, but you will have a beautiful child, and that will be a great thing, so your fitness level will come down, and this and this. And well, that's not, to me, that's not a good support. The good support I liked most is that, well, you're gonna do workout, but you're gonna do the workout differently. I'm just throwing this as an example, right? And it could be again with the cars or whatever, cooking, whatever you're doing. It could be different. What I mean with that is that now you have to have your child with you. So for me, the workout, instead of going to the gym, would be, let's go to the playground. I remember I would bring big rocks in my backpack.
Wow.
And when the child would go up and down the stairs, the playground items, etc., I would have my backpack and do my squats. I would put him on my shoulders doing something, so he would enjoy this as a game. And equally, instead of me carrying, I don't know, a 40-pound weight and lifting it up and down, I had this little fellow who a big smile always, and you're lifting him up and down, and you're telling him, hey, you do the counts and see if daddy can do 20 instead of 10.
Yes.
So you're
Yes.
just doing things differently. Equally with the cooking, right? If that's your passion or whatever it is, cooking doesn't have to be just you doing it. Just let the child to be there. Make them your sous chef,
Yes.
or even give them, you are the driver, I'll just help you, and you'll see how much more fun things becomes. And of course, there will be spills, there will be things you cannot do when you're now with a 3 4 5 years old child than when you are with adults. But it will be different and fun in a different way. Not easy transition, but all doable. So
Yes.
I think that's the changes that needs to come.
Those are really good ideas, and pretty creative too. And I'm sure your son will always have good memories of those things.
Oh, we talk a lot about the things, and he's such a great child, and I think it's a lot of it comes with the amount of time we spending together. And I'm looking at him, he's now 9.
Yeah.
The amount of help and easiness that he makes for me. For example, hey Aydin, his name is Aydin, is Aydin, the dishwasher, to making it empty, it's you and me have to do this chore together, and eventually you take that over. I don't remember I've been 9 helping my mom and dad to clean in the kitchen. We are 1 out of 4 boys, and we were
Uh-huh.
all the time out.
Yeah. Yes.
So the amount of things that is different for him is also, I think, very different to how I grew up, what the level of help I did. But that's our reality. If we're gonna have our read book time together, which actually that's another transition. So until only a couple of years ago, I would sit and read the same book with him. He would read a chapter. Now it's our read time means we both lay down, we both have our own books, and we read. And then, of course, we get disturbed by each other. That I have something fun to tell from the book I read, and he has something fun to tell. But those are the transitions you will have to accept. If you, again, that's another example. If you are used to, in your married life, get your time and go to your room and sit in and read in a book while the children was with their dad or with their mom, well, now you have to transition that, and you go there in that room with the child and his bedtime, and you do the read time together, right? There is those transitions is not easy in beginning because we are trained to do one way that we like, and now suddenly we have to adapt to this new way of living.
So I have a couple of questions based on what you just said. And I know that, so my daughter's 12. She's becoming more independent now, which is sad on one hand for me, but also a relief on the other hand, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and, her whole life and her pride and joy to this day is her kids. I was a working mom, so I had a lot of guilt around, and I still do, balancing the time that I think my daughter deserves and based on the role model that I had against, I just spent 9 hours in the office, hard work, and I'm tired, and I need to recharge, but my daughter needs me too. So can you share with the viewers
Yeah.
if you experience this and how you navigate?
Yeah, I love this question, and this was, I mean, which loving parent wouldn't have that thought as well? For example, the loving memories we have from our childhood,
Yes.
if we only focus on that, and we combine that with, oh well, I had my both parents, right? I had my brothers. I always wanted that for my child. I wanted him to be more than one person. Or yeah, my dad, growing up in Sweden, and as you and your audience may know, we're really serious about our breaks, right? So
I've
summer
heard.
breaks, Christmas breaks, and all of that. We're serious about it. We're really decoupling. And then here is not the same. So am I really giving my child the best And now, especially like you say, we're now single parents, or we have to do this on our own. So my plea to that worry is healthy, because we check ourselves and saying, can we really do more for a child than what we are doing? If the answer is yes, set your priorities right and do it. So if you think you're spending, uh, you mentioned 9, but there are people who are really dedicated into their work because they want to have a nice house, nice car, nice school. They want to put their child. That's another thing. I didn't grow up in a private school, or in Sweden. That's almost not a thing, right? And but nevertheless, all of these things that we want to do, is that really what the child benefits on, or is that my own self-imposed stress?
Mhm.
If it's a self-imposed stress, then I think you need to take a step back and thinking that, okay, I have to do my 9 hours work, because the minimal standard that we want, the safety, the good schooling, the good materials that I want to provide for a child, it will be, the base will be, have to be by the case that I have to do my 9 hours a day work, and just accept that, and giving the child extra quality time for that remaining time, that you wake time that you have with you and your child. So, and that may be only 1 hour a day, right?
Yes.
And if you do that, you'll notice that you're going to get more value. The analogy I have with it is about, I think most have heard about this, 10-hour rolling in a bed is nothing near as good as 5 hours of a quality sleep.
Ah, interesting.
So if you imagine, you're thinking you're resting just because you're laying on the bed 10 hours, and your mind is still working, you're stressed over things, and you're not getting a deep sleep. Well, how many of us can come and say, well, I get 5 hours sleep a night, or 6 hours, whatever that number is, and I'll feel fully refreshed. But then that's a quality time I'm kind of referring to. That
Yes.
when you're coming home, it might not be like your mom. She could spend the whole day, the wake
Right.
time with the children. You can give you 1 hour of that time with a child. And sometimes it's like this as well. It's not only you being physically present, but take your time, go and spend 1 minute with a child, and look at a person very intentionally in the eye, and saying, how was your day? Just
Yes.
that 1 minute, one question, and you'll see that the bonding, how the child reacts, and that quality, and the child will understand that I can rely on my parent, my mom, is
Yes.
loving, is providing a safety. It can be there whenever the parent is there for me whenever I need to, and that feeling is priceless. It's more than the 12 hours a day wake time that you would just be there in the house or being around.
Absolutely. And, I was sharing this with a friend of mine the other day. Um, so I always have this sense, and I think it's because my profession is ruled by time, by minutes. I record my day in tenths of an hour. So I always have time on my mind, like not enough time, not on time, rushing to be on time, running late. But I have these moments in every day. And if I slow down enough, like they're really little gifts. The other day we were in the kitchen doing something. I think we just finished up dinner and cleaning up, and my daughter said, Mommy, I want to go in the bedroom and ride the bike, the stationary bike, but I don't want to be alone. Can you be with me? And for a moment I thought, well, gosh, I have to finish doing whatever. And then I thought, no, I need to do this because I need to do this. I mean, it's a gift for me and for her. She wants to be with me, which is amazing because she's almost 13,
Yeah,
and we all have those moments, but if we can slow down and be present enough to recognize them, we'll find them.
yeah, and it's not, you're saying it beautifully there. So it's about the priorities, right?
Yes.
What do we prioritize? That's another thing with me is, when you are married and you can say, well, you can let your dad be there with you, right? Let me clean up here, you go with your dad, or you can go with your mom. And now when you're just two of you, and in your mindset you think, well, how long more will child be that 13 years old, a small child that want to be with me? And before you know it, time flies by. She's going to move out, she's going to have her own family, right, or her own priorities, and they're not going to ask us to be there. So can I wait with this cleaning up the kitchen right now and do that another day or next time,
Yes.
next hour? If the
Yes.
answer is yes, yes. But with that said, I want to also remind everyone as well that it's not wrong to say no as well.
Thank
That's
you.
not wrong. If you really have a priority, I have to finish this project now because tomorrow I have this delivery and it's very important.
Mhm.
It means that tonight I cannot spend that extra hour being present next to you,
Sorry.
watching you bicycling. And that's okay too. Because remember, the alternative is that you're feeling guilty. You go in there in the room. Now you don't deliver on your project. Now you're going to be stressed tomorrow or days after, right? Because you didn't deliver and it's had an impact on your job, on important things for you. And that peace of mind is now ruined. And how
Yes.
good are you as a parent when you don't have that personal peace of mind?
Yes, that's a really good point. And I think the other thing that it shows our children is that it's okay to say no too.
Yeah.
Um, it's okay if you have some other priority or you don't want to do something to just say no. It's setting an example that they don't always have to say yes. And I believe
Indeed.
that is so many kids and people today just don't have boundaries. They're doing things out of guilt or to make somebody else happy, but it's not really what they want. And I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to do what she really wants to do in life and be with who she wants to be with whom she wants to be.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that what you're mentioning here about, what kind of role model am I setting? And if you are not able to say no when you are really depleted and tired and have priorities that you know is better for you and the family, if you cannot, where will she learn to do that when she grew up, right? So I love the fact that you're relating that directly to that, and that's another angle and a very important one.
Thank you. So I just want to stop for a minute and ask anybody who's watching to leave me a comment below. Leave a comment or a question for me and Samie. Let us know what you're struggling most with as you go through this separation, divorce, or custody case. What are the issues that you're facing? We'll pop into the chat. Samie, you may even get Samie to answer. We may do another episode on the questions, but I'd love to hear your questions. And so we only have a few more minutes left, Samie, but you're so solid and grounded and just have real life experience. And one thing that I observe, I have a couple of close friends who are single moms. And it gets really hard for them sometimes because during their work weeks with the kid, all of a sudden, there's an emergency at work. Things are blowing up, but the kid has to go here and they don't know how they're going to resolve the scheduling issue. And it's very stressful. And I can imagine that comes up not, for just moms, but for any parent who's a single parent. How did you deal with those issues when they arose for you, if they did?
Yeah, no, of course it did, and I think I want to believe that if not all co-parents have gone through this at one or another point in their co-parenting journey. uh, I would say probably over 99% have gone through this because we have to work. There are things that comes up. You mentioned work, but also we have our own parents, relatives,
Yes.
friends, that something life-changing event can happen, right? An illness that require an urgent change of the schedule. In our case, in our journey, it was, let me start with a less good, well, actually bad. Let's be very open about it. It was bad till to where we are now, 6 years down the line, that it's become very good. So when I'm saying it was bad in beginning, especially during the court, where I would come with a case and saying, "Look, my job required that I need to travel to this city for 4 days, and I need to swap those days with you. I really want to swap the dates, not only just give away the days. I want to make up for those days." And then guess what? We came to court hearing that, look, he cannot even have his own days.
Yep, that
So,
happens.
so, so here now you're battling with, you're split in two minds. On one hand, you don't want to go through this situation and saying asking for a change of the date because you know it's going to be used against you. On the other hand, what if I don't go on a business travel? My job's going to be on a risk.
Yes.
So, we went through the legal, when I'm saying let's go the bad way, that we asked the court to at least allow my parents to be here when I'm not with the child, then they could be with the child. So the grandparents could be, and the court allow us to do so. So it didn't have to by default. If you cannot have the child, they have to go to the mom, right? So they agree. The court agreed to that. So now we didn't have to have that question and asking. And then as the journey has gone, she has been the one that has come back and say, well, I cannot have the child this day. Can we swap the day? Can we have it another day? And then equally, I've opened up and asked, can we swap the dates? And it's become really good. So that's where we are right now. That's kind of the beautiful story. It started difficult, and now we are in that easy mode that probably 9 or 10 out of the time we are asking for a swap, we can accommodate our swaps.
And that's so encouraging to hear. And, that's one of my wishes and hopes for everybody that is listening to this and that it's speaking to, and also for my clients who have gone through this, that they can reach that point after the emotions have died down and the feelings are less raw, that, they just kind of get into a groove where things are more free flowing. And so that's why I'm looking forward to our next episode, which is about what you do or your passion, which is Our Days Calendar. I mean, I know you have a full-time job, and the Our Days Calendar is up and coming, and we're going to talk about the scheduling through Our Days Calendar and how it can help improve people's co-parenting relationships. And Samie is going to share a screen and do things like that. So I can't wait for that next episode. Samie, you are an amazing guest. You're a fantastic father, and you're such an example for so many people, and you're helping the world. Thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate you, Wendy, and the audience as well, taking their time. That's the biggest gift that you can provide here, right? You're taking your time. The fact that you're setting this up, facilitating this, and the audience taking their time to listen to this. This is a testament of you trying to improve and finding ways to improve the situation as well. So hats off for you all who are doing this and listening in. And yes, please stay engaged. And anywhere that we can help and sharing our experience or any information that we can share and helping in your journey as well, definitely we're passionate about it. I know you are, Wendy, for sure, and so am I as well. So thank you all for listening in as well, and thank you, Wendy, for facilitating.
Thank you. And for you out there watching, if you like this episode, be sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the Command the Courtroom program, do that now. Check out Our Days Calendar. Who knows what you'll find. There's going to be something that can help you, I'm pretty sure. But Samie's going to share more about that in the next episode. But until next time, keep on trucking and get out there and command the courtroom.